My name is LT. I am a developer evangelist for Hack Reactor and Galvanize, as you can see up here. And I am really excited for this specific presentation. We've done a couple of these now, and they have quickly become some of my favorites. So this group of people that you see on the screen have worked really, really hard for the last 3 months. And they have graduated officially from the Hack Reactor program as of last Friday. Is that right? Yeah, big round of applause for everyone. So they've worked super hard, a lot of them starting from scratch, from not knowing anything at all to now building full stack applications. So we're gonna get to see their last projects, their capstone projects. It's called Blue Ocean. And so for those of you who don't know, Blue Ocean is the final project in the program where you use everything that you've learned and you put it all into one full stack application. So the premise of the project is that you have a client, so I'm going to put it in air quotes, a client, and your client is one of our staff members and they give you an objective. So they tell you, your team, what they want. And then the team has to work together to create a presentation for it to say, this is what we're thinking, this is how we interpret your ask, and then once it's approved, they get to go build it. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in.
Okay, cool. So thanks again for taking some time to attend our presentation on this proof of concept project to demonstrate the Secure Your Vote website. To give you an idea of what our client was expecting, I wanted to just take some time to tell you about the specific features. Client requirements, first off, users can register and sign up for SYV with an email and password. So our priority here was to for this feature was to implement a secure authentication sign-up process. Users can then securely cast votes after they've signed in, so they can fill out a ballot for candidates based in their specific location at a federal, state, county, and municipal level. Users can view up-to-date candidate election information like election dates, registration deadlines, absentee ballot deadlines. Users see a loading animation when casting their vote. So a specific ask was a ballot sent animation when voting. And they also asked specifically for a confetti animation when the location is validated and when casting a vote successfully. Also high on our priority list was making sure that it was not only secure, but had high performance and speed. So some of the technologies that we use to build our application were Next.js, React.js, MongoDB. We used 2 APIs. One was the Google Civic API that brought us our election information, and then also the Here API for location, search, and validation. We also deployed an instance to Azure, and we also did one for the Vercel. And then we used Tailwind CSS for styling. So the main theme of SYV was around validation, authorization, and authentication to have the ability for an authenticated user to be able to vote securely online. Team Bubbles is the premier full-stack software engineering branch of Blue Ocean Technologies, who have envisioned this application that accomplishes a high level of security while also offering many sticky user experiences that create a high level of engagement while also being aesthetically pleasing and easy to use. We have incorporated many features that allow customizations based on specific information that is securely stored and offer features that guide the user to having an election information at their fingertips. So here I just want to give you a quick intro of our team and our specific roles. So I myself, my name is Jason Body, and I was the project manager. Dom Stepek was the UI owner, and Marco Canciola was the backend architect. Also on our team was Roy Zhu, Cody Mumford, Andrew Lee, and DeMarcus Matthews, who were also our other full stack software engineers. So essentially, our app gives the users ability to sign up and sign in securely, get polling information, register to vote with the US government, and be able to view specific election information for elections in their area. Then if a user has been validated to be living in the United States, they will be able to securely vote directly in the app. So now I'll just take you on a user journey so you can see how our application functions. So here, starting at the home page, you'll notice a very clean interface with a patriotic banner, a header with a statement, so it helps the user feel more confident that they're getting the information that they need to make an informed vote. So below, you'll see 3 links here. So even if a user isn't logged in, they can go and register to vote. They can check the registration status. And now I'll show you our interactive map. So this actually was not a client ask, but we felt that it was actually, it helped with the user experience design. So you'll notice that, as I hover over any state, it'll give you the name of that state. And then when I click on a state, it will bring us to a state-specific page with that information directly relating to that state. So I can go back and check out some more. So now I'll take you through the sign-up process. So here, when a user comes to sign up, they put in their first name, their last name, and then on the email and password, we have specific validations to check if the email is indeed correct format and that the password has at least 8 characters, no more than 13. It contains at least 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 1 special character. So I'll quickly just go through this so you can see. So if I was not putting in the right information, it would tell me that it needs to have those special characters. So I'll again just go and sign up. Now that I'm signed up, I can just log in.
I think you need a .com.
Oh, sure. Okay, so now I'm onto the address validation page. So here, as I mentioned before, we use the Here API that allows us to get specific validation for addresses in the United States. So I just went over to Zillow to grab an address. So I'm just going to paste that in, and then you can see it auto-populates the rest of the fields with the right information. So now I can go over here and just check to make sure it's a valid address. And it is indeed valid because it's in the United States, and you get that confetti animation that the user or the client requested. So now I'm just going to go ahead and submit that information, and that information is now going to be stored with my user information on the database specifically. So now that I'm on my user defined dashboard, you'll see that everything is specifically set up with that address that I put in on the address validation. So now that the user is authenticated and validated, they're now able to see this dashboard. And I'm actually going to hand it off to Dom now to take you through the specifics of the dashboard itself.
Thank you, Jason. So hi, my name is Dom. Again, I was the UI owner responsible for keeping the design and user experience consistent across the application. Another one of my tasks was creating and designing this homepage here on the dashboard. Someone asked to increase the font size. Are you able to do that? Just real quick, zoom in? I don't know. Anyways, if we can't get that done right now, we have our election page here. This actually dynamically renders upon the user provided address. So, if a user entered a different address other than San Diego County, we would actually populate these fields with the corresponding address. Additionally, right now we are using a VIP test selection. This is a test selection data because we wanted to make sure that we had available functionality available when we're doing this demo, but we could simply put that and start using the actual election data. Underneath here, we have the election links. So in the case that we aren't able to provide any sort of information to the user, we still wanted to provide them all these additional links so that they could go out and actually still have access to that information, even if for whatever reason we were unable to provide it to them. Next up, we also have a section for the general elections. So these are the current elections. I might be lagging because I might be seeing something old, but it contains all the different contests that are going on with the corresponding candidates. And if you can click Jason on one of the candidates, we'll actually be able to gain access to some of their additional information. We contain links to the website, their phone number, whatever we had available to us, including their socials. Underneath this general election section, we also have a referendum section. So these, in this current election, would be all the current referendums that would be available or up for voting, and users can see those as well as get additional information to them. So if they wanted to read more about each specific piece of legislation, they would be able to do that. Finally, we have a polling locations section where when we initially get the address data from the user, we are able to just send them to a page that will give them directions to their polling location if it is available to us. Again, that is provided with the Google Civic API, and so it should route them straight there. And that would be our homepage for this dashboard. So next up, I'm going to pass it off to Roy to continue talking about some of the additional functionality that we have on our dashboard.
Thank you, Dom. Hi, my name is Roy, and I was a full stack engineer on Team Bubbles. I primarily worked on the front end, implementing some of these additional dashboard. So aside from the homepage that gives you all the personalized information, as you can see here on the left, the user has the ability to register to vote. They can also check their registration status. They can sign up for election reminders. They can request an absentee mail-in ballot, and if they're under 18, they can sign a pledge to vote. So for this application, we really wanted to create a seamless voting experience, and we tried to make the experience as realistic as possible. So of course, we had to have an online ballot, and this ballot dynamically renders based on the user's submitted address information. And as you can see here, it has all the candidates, the different offices they're running for, and additionally the referendums on the bottom. And we implemented logic where you can only choose one candidate per office, and if you were to write in a candidate of your own choosing, it would remove the candidates that you selected. So when the user, if it's their first time and they registered with us and signed up and they submitted the ballot, it would go through and display a success message with the ballot animation. Additionally, we implemented some validation on the front end to where a user can only vote once. So if Jason were to try and submit the ballot again, there would be an error message. And now I'll pass it off to Cody to talk about how he handled this ballot data on the back end.
Thank you, Roy. My name is Cody. One of the things we had to do on the back end was design schemas for the databases in such a way to hold all the relevant data coming in from the ballots, because we will potentially have ballots coming in from anywhere across the country. So we want to make sure that we have enough information pertaining to each vote to be able to sort them out when we need to count them later down the line. Additionally, when a ballot comes in, we ensure that there is a signed in user attached to the ballot to make sure that we don't have ballots coming in from unknown locations. And we also check again on the back end to make sure that it isn't a user who has already voted, so that people can't be voting over and over again. So I'll pass it over to Marco to talk more about authentication in our app.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marco, and as Jason mentioned before, I was the architect owner as far as this application. Due to the fact that we wanted to secure our application so our users can vote securely, one of the main technologies that we went ahead and decided to use was Next.js, Passport.js, and also we decided to deploy our application with Vercel because Vercel automatically gives us a secure socket layer when we're making these connections while our users are making connections with the application. So as you can see there, our connection is secure. So if there are any man-in-the-middle attacks, all of the data that's being associated within the application is encrypted. So along with that, I went ahead and provided 3 forms of authenticating the users within our application. As you can see, we have a local strategy, and then we also have a
I think
Facebook's with this, if you're a new user. Oh, if you log in with Google, as you can see right there, it'll give you the option to choose a Google account. Then you go ahead and fill out your information within. So we have your appropriate address within our database, and then you go through the process, check it's a valid address, and you go ahead and submit. And there it is there. And another reason why we chose Next.js is because we want this application to be accessible, and we wanted it to be optimized as much as possible. And with that, Next.js automatically optimize your application in production. And as you can see here, we have great speed within our application. And I feel like that gave us a huge advantage as far as building out such a strong and robust application. And yeah, those are the technologies that we use, and I'll circle back to Jason.
Thanks again for attending this capabilities demonstration for SYV, where voting online has never been more accessible or more secure with Secure Your Vote. Now I'd like to open the floor to any questions or comments, or if you'd like to hire us for your next project.
Thank you so much, team. I just want to reiterate really quickly before we get into question and answer. If you have a question, go ahead and throw it in the chat, because we do have a team of people who worked on a lot of different things. It'll be easier if they can read it before the appropriate person jumps in to answer. But I do have a question myself. So how did you determine the style? Earlier, Lenora and I were talking about it, and it looks very official and very trustworthy. So were those things that you were considering while you were putting together the UI of it?
I can answer that question. So one of the things that our client asked us for was to have this application be beautiful and for it to stand out and for it to pop. And I said, I can do that. So, that was one of our great values, is making sure that we're meeting all of the client's demands. And, it wasn't necessarily, I guess, in hindsight, maybe we wanted to create it beautiful, like you said, for the end user to make them feel more trustworthy of our application. But really, the goal in mind was what the client was asking for, and we trusted that the direction that they had was what the one that we should follow. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, totally. Thank you very much. What was one of the biggest challenges that the client asked for? And if there was no challenge, feel free to say that too.
Oh, actually, when we showed them the interactive map, they were kind of blown away by it, and then trying to implement it was quite a challenge. So there was a lot of kind of pitfalls, kind of going back and forth and trying to get this to work. But I actually got to give it to my team to really putting in and really helping me to get this all fleshed out. So.
Yeah, I have to say, when you moved to the page where you showed the interactive map the first time, that was really, really impressive. I went, whoa. And so I can see how the client would have done the same. Also, I just have to say, again, I'm going to gush, but I want this for my next voting round. This made it so seamless and easy, I think, to figure out, what's happening in your ballot and everything. And so just the organization alone is really, really impressive. So big kudos for that. On that same note, how did you pull in the information? Were these the APIs that you used, or did you have to upload data manually for this one?
So originally we did have election information, but I actually went in and manually took this information. So it is hard-coded, but we are able to bring in election information specifically, like on dates and everything, from the Google Civic API. So both hard-coded and API data.
Yeah, and naturally, when you have a few days, you've got to just do what you got to do to get the information in there. If you had more time, I'm sure that would have been the next step. So with more live data. So I'll go ahead and get to some of our questions in the chat because there's some really great ones in there. So Sherry asked what technologies were used in the interactive map. So specifically, what did you use to create it?
So the interactive map is actually, it was already built out, so I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And I found a React USA map on GitHub already, and they have a Node package manager that allowed us to bring it in as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Smarter, not harder. That is the key. Would the user be able to update their address? It's from Lenora.
I can answer that question. Yes, they will be able to. So anytime you go to the address form, it'll automatically update that user accordingly. So, but you have to be signed in. The backend is built upon sessions. We were creating sessions every time the user logs in and they provide the proper credentials. So you have to be logged in and you have to have the valid credentials in order to make any changes to the user. So.
Got it. So that answers a question from earlier that Lenora asked, is you would essentially not be able to cast a ballot at all unless you were already signed in.
Exactly. All of the functionality that has to do with casting ballots or user in general, or even seeing pollings around your location would not work if you're not authenticated with our application.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and move on to Team Buttercup. However, if you think of any questions for Team Bubbles as we're moving on, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll have a little bit of extra time at the end of this to circle back and ask any of those additional questions. But let's kick it off with Team Buttercup now, so you guys can take it over.
Hi, my name's Tom. I am the project manager for Team Buttercup as we worked on our project PowerFit. The other members of our team was Jess, she was our UI owner, Prince was our architect owner, and then we also had Alex, Hunter, Jason, Leslie, and Jonathan were all software engineers on this project. Our goal here was to create a smarter fitness application to allow users to spend more time working out, less time finding a workout. In order to use our application, the client did request to have a validated login account in order to be able to save workouts and be able to favorite them for in the future. So Jess, if you want to go ahead and demonstrate, we do have form validation on our login page. Will not allow you to log in without putting in the proper credentials. And then if you put in for somebody that already exists as a user, then it won't let you log in with those as well. You can go to the sign up page if you are need to sign up with a new account and create one there. Also form validated if you don't put in a password. Once you've created your account, it'll take you to our dashboard page where it will give an auto-generated workout to start with so that you can get started right away without having to create a workout. If you click on the view on that, it will take you to our workout view where it'll give you the list of all of the workouts with a description on how to perform them, as well as a library of videos that will demonstrate all of the workouts for you. You can skip to the next one, forward and back in there, and kind of get something to show you how to do it right as you go. You can also go back to the dashboard from the menu up there, and then once you are in the dashboard, if you decide you want to build your own workout, you can go to the workout builder. And in here, we also validated to make sure that you're not creating an empty workout. So if you don't put in a name first or any workouts added to it and you try and begin the workout, it will let you know that you cannot create an empty workout. If you, however, want to start something, you can add what you want to the workout and click on Begin Workout. It'll take you again to the Workout Viewer page. From here, if you decide that you didn't like something on this or you want to add one more part to it, you can go back to the Edit Workout and add more to your workout. Once you do go to Begin Workout again, you decide, okay, this is the workout you really like, you can save it to your workouts. And then when you go back to your dashboard, it will be saved as your workout there. So we're now showing a full body run. Once you've created additional workouts, just if you want to build one more out real quick, you can also, it'll give you the option to save it to favorites. And just create anything here. And Begin Workout, you can save it to My Workouts, you can mark it as favorite. And then when you go back to your dashboard, you can also just toggle between just the workouts that you've saved versus your favorites if you want to be able to sort through them quicker. And I will, from this point, throw it over to Alex to talk about some of the challenges that we faced on this project.
Hi, my name is Alex. I was a full stack engineer on this project, and I'll be speaking about our challenges. And one of our challenges was authentication. Our client had asked us for a feature set that required authentication so that users could save workouts. We researched several authentication libraries and concluded that Passport.js was the best fit for our needs. With Passport.js, we were able to send and receive a session cookie that we were able to use to verify authenticated users. And our other challenge was finding an API with a data set that was fit for our needs. We were able to find a good data set. We were unable to find a good data set and even considered scraping, but opted not to, as this was an MVP and we wanted to cut scope. We decided to create our own data set, which worked out for us, and we were able to control what that data looked like and what data we had access to.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So tell me a little bit about when you were putting this together, other than the challenges that you mentioned, were there any just like interpersonal challenges or anything like that? Like, how did the team work together, and what were your takeaways?
One of our challenges or other challenges we did have was communication. And the way that we resolved that was by sitting in Zoom and having different tap out rooms, and we can go ahead and have a tap out room for the back end and the front end. And if we needed to split up, we can go ahead and go into other tap out rooms to have other conversations. And that way we were able to work together, the front end and the back end.
Yeah, and one additional challenge that we faced as well was kind of the idea of cutting scope. This was a 1-week project, and going into it, our client basically came into it asking for the world without having a good API to be able to pull from that was within our client's budget, and having to go ahead and create our own data for this project. That was something that was going to take up some additional time, and we worked with our client in order to kind of really narrow down to what was the most important features to him in the time frame that he was looking for, and try and make sure to deliver a fulfilled application with what he really wanted the most, as well as something that we felt would be easy for the user to use and just appealing to look at as well.
One question that I have specifically for this group, because you all are remote full-time students, how was it working and going through the program remotely? It seems everyone's doing it right now, so you're not outside of the norm, but I'm curious to see what the program was like remotely, and like specifically not just your capstone project, but even before that, if anyone wants to jump in and just talk a little bit about the experience doing it online.
I can go again. For me, remote was great. I wouldn't have been able to do this if it wasn't for remote. I have a family and kids that I couldn't, even though I was away from them while studying, I at least was semi-present. And if I was going to be gone for, like 11 hours a day plus commute, that definitely would not have worked in my situation. And I feel like it was also, we didn't have people around us every day, like physically, to build a community with, but we ended up building a great community within our cohort. And if anything, it was almost easier to build the community in some ways once we got started, just because we were always available online.
How many of you had no coding experience whatsoever before entering, we'll say prep, because once you enter the program, you have at least a little bit of experience. But when you decided to enter the program, how many of you had any experience in coding?
I'll go. So I did a little bit of studying before I got into the program. That was mainly just to pass the technical assessment to get in, as it was quite difficult. But starting from ground zero and getting to where we are now, it was like actually amazes myself. Like, I can't believe I learned so much in the little time that we had there. And I would attribute that to, the community itself. All these engineers like really helped me to be where I am today. Without them, I don't know. I don't think I could have done it without them. So.
Yeah, and I'll second what Jason said. I know that some of the people in the cohort did have some previous experience. For myself, I started in January of this year. I didn't even know what a Boolean was before January of this year, or anything about JavaScript or any kind of coding for that matter. And so this program really does a great job of taking you from a complete beginner coder all the way to a full stack engineer, especially if you are willing to apply yourself and really try and learn. I can't believe everything that I can accomplish now that I've gone through this, and also same thing with the community. Like, if it wasn't for some of the people that are in the Zoom room right now, like I definitely would not have come as far as I did. There was a lot of help all the way around, even from people that were in my same boat. And, I hope that I helped some of my classmates as well. But yeah, it was a great community and a lot that we could learn in a short period of time when you apply yourself.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, jump in. I'm loving all this. Just go.
So I actually, if anyone is, I don't know, I come from a background of some coding experience, and I will add that I've actually still learned a lot. So even though I did have a background, I've learned a lot about how to work in teams. I've learned a lot about how to deploy, like a lot of production stuff and testing, all these things that I personally never got out of doing like independent development. And so I think there's still a lot to learn.
How did you find time to recuperate during all of the immersive? Like, were you just stressed beyond belief? Did you have time to, decompress and come down, or was it just, go?
I'll answer this. So, it is called a boot camp for a reason. It was very intense. 11, 12, 15 hours a day coding. You get one day off, and that's usually spent doing laundry and going food shopping, at least for me. But the one thing Hack Reactor does do really well is teach you how to learn really fast. Like, we were given a brand new framework and be like, just start using it, or do this sprint and like learn it all together all at once. So they really did a good job of kicking up the speed and really making us learn and helping us to learn really quickly and efficiently.
I will also add too, we have amazing cohort leads, or people that watch over a class, that are always available for people to go to and to talk to if you're ever feeling stressed or any kind of you're having any issues personally. You always have someone to talk to at all times. And so even if you do feel stressed out, they provide you great plans to follow up on, so that you can help like alleviate some of the stress or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, and I'll jump in also. So as far as like the laundry and the grocery shopping and that kind of stuff, I have to give thanks to my wife for that, because she she really stepped up with all of the day-to-day kind of stuff. and allowed me to focus fully on this and then just be present with our family and our kids when I did have time. But I also want to give a big thanks to Zabrian, who's in here. Like Dom said, there's amazing cohort leads within this program, and not only are they always available, but they really care as well. So, you know, you can schedule like one-on-one meetings with them, and they will focus on you as an individual. Zabrian was a big help to me personally about the midpoint when I was starting to feel a bit burned out. Like I felt like I couldn't sleep at night with just like couldn't fall asleep properly with too much thoughts of everything I learned for the day and what I have to do the next day on my mind. And he worked with me to really kind of formulate a plan as to what would work for me to help me kind of step away from code at the end of the night and switch to a mind space of being able to sleep and rest and recuperate and self-care. And they really, you know, bring that up all the time as well throughout as a daily basis, even if it's not in a one-on-one meeting. They remind you self-care is important, and take your breaks, and, you know, eat your good food. And even though a lot of us like coffee for breakfast, as Avery I know will appreciate that one, but yeah, it's a community between your classmates as well as your tech mentors and cohort leads, and a lot of support all the way around. It's been amazing.
Thank you all so much for sharing that. I'm going to put Zabrian on the spot just a bit for a second. And because we have Zabrian here as a program lead, would you mind just telling, you know, us a little bit about what a program lead does and how they assist?
For sure, yeah. I serve as a cohort lead, and I support the program lead daily in operations. And what my role does is that human development side. So when we're talking about the self-care, stress management, anxiety management, remuneration, as well as emotional intelligence throughout the program. And what does it mean to build yourself up as a team member? Also just harnessing all of those skills. We're the folks that typically will hop in also when we see you're having an off day. One of the things that Stack we pride ourselves on is noticing when something is different, especially in a virtual environment. It's been harder to identify, but we've really found ways to say like, hey, this seems different today. Is everything okay? How can we support you intentionally? Alongside that, my technical mentor, Jonathan Lewis, amazing, talented individual, was excellent at balancing out that side of the tech skills with the leadership development too. So that was amazing to just move throughout the program. And I definitely miss these folks already, even just one day apart.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the correction. So cohort lead and program lead are a tiny bit different, but they work in tandem to make sure that everyone has what they need. Thank you all so much. I am thoroughly impressed by your projects, as I always am. It's just amazing to see what y'all can build in such a short amount of time and the things that you learn in such a short amount of time. So again, pat yourselves on the back. Congratulations, big kudos. I'm really excited to see where all of y'all end up. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day, everyone.